someone's gonna catch me, and because I'm just singing under my breath. I'm like, it's a fucking long walk. I don't care what you think. I could kill you if you blink. No pretenders left when I'm done.
Oh my gosh. It's so much better to see you doing it.
Oh, you gotta you gotta clench your fist and raise it and kind of shake your head. Hey.
There we go. Now we're in business.
Yes.
Pow. Got it.
Picture. All right. I like to take screen grabs when we're here doing this so I can, I don't know, see it later and be like, oh, that was that one night.
That was that night Palmer was in his strap shirt.
Is that what that's called? Strap shirt.
I like that name so much better than wife beater. Like,
oh yeah, no.
You know.
I've always just said tank top.
I don't know why it's weird that I said strap shirt because I call them undershirts.
Oh,
really
yeah. That works better too.
Yeah. But
ooh.
So that's what I'm wearing.
I'm wearing like, oh, you can't tell just how blue, how light blue.
Oh, I can tell.
Shorts.
I can tell how blue those are.
These are like my real JV shorts. Like when I don't want to dirty anything that I actually like wearing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's raining hard here tonight, so I had to shut the windows out on the porch.
Yeah, we had our windows open too, actually, but it was like all crickets. I'm on the microphone that I have. I think that's one of the reasons why I love the way it sounds, and it's really, really sensitive though.
Oh, sure.
So I'm sure part of it is me. I almost don't want to say it because it'll be like one of those, once you hear it, you won't be able to unhear it. Mm-hmm. So I could be ruining the podcast for you.
Oh, good.
And any or all of our potential listeners.
Oh, Jesus. Well, if it'll make you feel better, you might as well do it.
Because it'll really, like, it is one of those, once you hear it, you can't unhear it. But I swear, all I hear is me breaking when we're...
Oh, I hear that sometimes, but I hear that on another podcasts too. It depends on the... potentially Brian could run something on him where it gates the signal so that stuff like that might not come through, but that might also sound strange. I'm not sure. We could try it though. Try it on one.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's just, and I thought about the gate thing, it's just beyond my level of expertise. So.
Yeah,
but I swear that's it's just like I just like hear it, and so so hopefully I didn't ruin it for our potential listeners who are just like, man, that fucking Palmer, the mouth breather. That's all I hear.
I don't
just
think
like,
it's necessarily mouth breathing. It could even be nose.
Go see an allergist because maybe you have some kind of congestion going on there, sir. Yeah. So. I don't know.
That doesn't ruin anything for me.
Yeah. So the long walk for the short drink
the listeners be like, fuck them, and now I have. If that bothers you, take a hike.
Yeah. Because
take a long walk off a short pier, fucko.
Hey-o.
All right, maybe we'll cut that out.
Yeah. So, but I thought about, this mic is just so sensitive. Like you could just hear the crickets so much. So I wanted to try maybe the other type of mic and see, and this is how little I know about it, is the other type is not the type that needs phantom power. And it's not as sensitive.
Yeah, I think it'd be a dynamic mic as opposed
dynamic,
to a condenser mic.
Yes, that sounds right. So there's one of those that I looked at, but they're like $100. This stuff is just so ridiculous. Like, it's just
Oh yeah, it can be.
for such a simple thing that it's doing. It's like I'm doing all the work of thinking of what I want to say and like actually saying it and like finding the time in my schedule to say it with you and then that's a whole nother like level of work that's going into this happening. And all the mic really has to do is just sit there and listen and vibrate. That's all it has to do, right?
I had an audio professor in college that said like mics are stupid, microphones are stupid. Like our ears will filter things, but they're just gonna pick up what their pickup pattern tells them to.
Yeah, it's just so, and they're disproportionately priced. Like the mixer, when we first started recording this, I blew out my mixer for those of you who didn't hear that fiasco. Yeah. And so I needed to go get a new one, and I found one for like $60. And that was this thing has knobs and dials and lights and everything. To me, it's a totally justified $60. If I counted up all the knobs and plugs, it'd probably be like a nickel a knob, you know?
Yeah.
That's a proportionate amount of money, I think.
I think
a
that's
microphone
what
is just like...
I think that's what hookers say in England. They're like, a nickel a knob, you know? Knob
a nickel a knob. That's a really... It is a really dirty phrase. A nickel for a knob.
Yeah.
We'll have to save that one and bring that one up.
My nickname in Europe.
That's my nick. That's a great joke. That's my nickname in Europe.
That's
almost a like. That's like a PG-13 version of that was my dick's nickname in college.
Yes. That's exactly what I was thinking, though. I mean, that was where I stole the idea from.
That's my nickname in Europe. I like that one. I can say that one around children. I can't say that was my dick's nickname in college one around kids. It's usually frowned upon. Some parents are cool, though.
Yeah. You know, an innocent expression I heard today that I realized has probably very dirty origins is sit on it. You know, like people used to say that like kind of a screw you or fuck you back in, I don't know, maybe the 70s or something. Like sit on it, so-and-so. It's like eat my grits.
Yeah,
that too probably, but yeah, I just I heard someone say it in a sexual way in a joke, and it was a joke about Viagra or something like you know, gets the job done whenever you can be crying and be like, okay, it's ready, sit on it. It was a Mark Maron joke, and when I heard that, I was like, oh shit. So when they say sit on it in sitcoms, you know, that's what they mean. Because what else? What else could that mean?
Listen, nothing. Here's the thing. It's all about sex. Everything.
I think so.
Like, I think everything is about sex. And then there's this like weird progression. Have you hit a point? I feel like we've hit an age in our life where we are starting to see the upswing or the downswing of certain cycles that take a lifetime to see. Right? Like, I mean, we're not, I don't think at the crest point, that would mean we're midlife, which that would just be
that would suck.
Yeah. But we're like at the point where they're just starting to like define a direction, whether they're on an upswing or a downswing. Right.
Okay. And, I'm on the upswing to following you.
All right. So I just feel like, I think one of those natural things is like language progression with slang and buzzwords and all that stuff. And I think one of those natural progressions is the progression of language that's acceptable to say on primetime television.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, that has taken a jump recently.
It's weird. Yeah, but it's like crazy. But if you think, though... If you think back to like the Honeymooners, like he had jokes about like hitting his wife, you know, like that was his like go-to joke was One of these days,
zoom.
Alice, to the moon, you know, and you're just like, now that show would be canceled. Like, no
Right.
questions.
Oh, yeah.
That joke, and that's if that joke made it through all of the screening processes before it made it to the air.
Yeah.
And somehow got on the air and that joke made it. It would be one time. It wouldn't even air in the West Coast. It would hit the East Coast prime time, and it would get pulled before it even changed a time slot. You know, like,
yeah, that would not fly today. And rightfully so. I mean, that's good, I think.
But like back then, like they had to totally bury their sex innuendos.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that it was like an innuendo of an innuendo of an innuendo. That if you were on this one inside clicky joke, you were like, oh, that's dirty.
Right, yeah. It was like a code. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas now, it's like the total opposite. It's just like, let's be as raunchy and dirty as we can be. And that's okay. I mean, there's still things they can't say. But I don't think it's the Dirty Seven anymore. That.
Oh yeah, no. Well, and on cable networks like FX, and AMC, 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 FX, and USA, in their primetime shows are letting more and more slide. So we talked a little bit about that show Atlanta last time, and on that show they just flat out say fuck, and often. I mean, not every other word, but pretty often.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I like it. I'm all for profanity, particularly as it relates to comedy. But yeah, it's still a little shocking. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that. So,
yeah,
I have a bit of that.
I need to watch that show.
Yeah, I really like it. Though
he has an all African American like writing team.
Yeah, I guess
like,
it
there's
is.
No.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a non-African American person on the show. Though I'm hearing recently that that's maybe not the right nomenclature. You just say black now. I don't know. I'll say whatever I'm supposed to say, but I thought maybe you might know.
Well, I know like black. Well, I still like the reporter from Samantha Bee. She's like, you should just, if you don't know, you should just ask what the person is comfortable.
Right. Yeah, I saw that too.
Referred to, and then that's an easy way to like not only break the ice, but then like break that tension.
Yeah.
You know. So, I guess I would want, in a perfect world, I would want to answer that would be the ideal way to do it.
Yeah, and in these situations where it's not someone in our presence, I guess we can look up.
Yeah.
What does Donald? Though we won't Google. We'll minimize the googling. But
this article that I saw, which I hope it wasn't just clickbait, but basically he was on record. He was quoted, or that he had an all black writing team to basically show that they knew more about black lifestyle than white writers did.
That makes sense.
They were just as capable of like writing a show about black people as a group of white writers does. So, that, which I thought was totally awesome. He's just a brilliant comic, though.
Yeah, I've never seen his stand up, and I can't say that I was like especially a fan of. Like, we're talking about Donald Glover. I guess we haven't said his name, but
yeah,
I wasn't like huge on. I mean, I like what is the Community was the show that he was first on. I liked him on that. I had it in my head. I thought I read someplace that he was related to Danny Glover, which made me like him by association, but I'm pretty sure that's not true at all.
I don't think it is. I think I checked that when I watched, because I have watched his stand up, and it's really weird, and he's really like, yeah, it was really unexpected. I don't know. I couldn't even give you examples of what I mean by that from the stand up.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat where I've tried to describe what it is I like about this Atlanta show, and I'm a loss for words
Yeah.
For that unique quality that he has.
Yeah.
And that show has it, but it's a real subtle thing, the way they do it. I mean, quirky is, I guess, a one way to put it. But it's, I really enjoy it. Though they showed the first two back to back when it premiered, and then the third episode was the one that aired just last week. Yeah, and it got a little darker than I had hoped, or than I expected.
Oh.
So, and not terribly so, but the first two I felt, when I thought more about what happened in the first two, it was like, oh, okay, some of that stuff is dark too, but so it's definitely, I don't know if it would be classified as a comedy or what, but it definitely is funny, and very unique. It's a unique voice. That's the most generic thing I could say about it, but good.
Yeah.
It's good. I really, I love it.
It's that's awesome. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's definitely worthwhile. And I think, I mean, I'm only 3 in, but I think you'll like it right away. And if you don't, I'm not sure that, you know, you're gonna grow to like it. Ooh, look at that! You got the PBR.
Yeah, good old PBR.
Hell yeah! I'm drinking wine tonight too. I have.
Not just wine, white wine.
Yeah,
white wine.
Because it's too hot though. I have red here, but I'm like, maybe I'll cool off, and maybe it'll stop raining so I can open up the windows. But, yeah, there you go. I don't know. How you been doing?
Oh, pretty good.
You sounded like you were getting sick as we were talking the last time, and then you said, I think you did get sick, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, was I sick. Like, that next day, I didn't leave that hotel room. I just stayed in that. I didn't even go see my dad that day.
Oh,
I was
no.
in Cleveland. I was in Cleveland, like, 3 hours away from home, in a hotel room to, like, be there for my dad, and I couldn't go see him because I was so sick.
Jesus.
Like, it would have just, like, his immune system was so bad, it wasn't a good idea to be around him. So, it was the right decision to make, but, man, did it suck. And it was like one of those sicks where you're like, I just want to climb into bed and have somebody bring me soup and like put a wet washcloth on my head, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But
I could hear it coming in on your voice. I just listened to that one to go through for like editing notes a few days ago. It took me a while because it's like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
But towards the end, you can start to hear it in your voice, and then you're like, yeah, I think I'm getting sick.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, I totally got sick. How is that episode? Did it re-grab that energy of the first episode?
I think so. Yeah, I didn't until you said that the second one was wasn't quite to the same kind of quality or pitch.
It was just different. Yeah, it was.
There was
just
a lot of
different.
Googling in that one. Yeah, once you said that, I realized it more. But I hadn't thought too much about that. And yeah, no, I was listening, and I listen often reasonably because I'll just mix the two tracks together, play it during my drives, and kind of make notes of where there might be extended dead air or something like that could come out. But yeah, I enjoy listening to them immediately, and I just had the conversation.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's a good sign that they would be enjoyable to someone else to listen to. I liked listening to them. I'm really excited to listen to the third one. 3 hours, man. That's like, which by the way, welcome back. This is episode 4 of Long Walk, Short Drink. The planning days. That's what we'll call these. These episodes are the planning days. So we'll kind of, maybe every season will have like a theme to them, and we'll call each season the collection of each season. So these are the planning episodes. Yeah, it's interesting. I have listened with a mind of, well, should this be cut up? Should it be shorter? The bride and I had, I'm going to say breakfast. Everyone else called it brunch, but with another couple here in Northfield, and the guy listens to a lot of podcasts as well, though I think a lot more I tend to favor comedy podcasts, and I think he listens to more classy things. But
yeah,
he was saying he seemed to have opinions about podcasts in general, and I was like, what's a sweet spot time-wise for you? And he said 45 minutes. I was like, okay, that's interesting. And I had already been thinking about, because this last one, I think it's like the Raw was more like 340 or 345 even. It was really long.
Oh man, that's like
yeah. But so, and as
that's
I
like a director's cut of a movie.
Yeah.
Is what that is. That's the rough cut of episode 1.
Right. It wasn't until the last maybe 5 or 10 minutes though that it occurred to me as like, oh, this feels like it's dragging. And I think there was something we repeated, and that's when it kind of wound down. But then it sort of had a nice little finish. And yeah, I especially with the title being what it is, it doesn't seem as though it should be parsed out, because we talk in such big circles and then things come back around. I don't know. I guess I don't mind the length so much. I don't feel like they have to be that long, but I feel like if they are, that means we're enjoying the conversation. So that, yeah. I mean, another thing we could do, I guess, is like consciously put a pin in the conversation, so that would be the end of an episode, and then start a new episode like immediately thereafter. So even though we might talk for 4 hours one night, it's 2-hour episodes.
Yeah, well, I think some really good takeaways are any kind of like excuse me, there you go, listeners. That's raw, right?
Yeah.
Just burped right into the microphone.
Oh yeah.
No, so we could have any like predetermined structure that we went into, like an agenda, would be helpful. Something to just like come back to. So that when we really do get on those long walks, like I felt like even, especially in the last episode, there was a couple that we were way out there for a long time before we came back into where we were actually like headed. I feel like even a couple times already in this episode that's happened. Jeez. So there's that. I think like an agenda would be really good.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that supersedes that is just starting a timer once we say, okay, here's an official go. I do like that natural start where we just like start talking.
Yeah.
And then somewhere in the beginning is that but that really makes it hard then to do a timer, because we don't really know when, unless we time the video, like from when the video chat like connects.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be a rough timer.
My record does like minutes and seconds and stuff like that I have in front of me. So for instance, right now we've been recording for 22 minutes and 44 seconds. So I mean, that's kind of be a loose guide. Obviously, it doesn't.
Oh, that's true. And I'm pretty close to that. I'm at like 22 minutes and 38 seconds, 39. So I'm about 20 seconds slower than you.
Oh yeah.
So okay. I mean, I guess that is something that we could use. Man.
With the agenda thing, I think that's a great idea, especially if it's shared with the other person, so you know that, because sometimes if you have no idea that the other person has something to talk about, you just let the conversation go where it is. And then if you have this outline that says, oh, I see you wanted to talk about whatever, then I guess that's coming. That might help. And do you have a sort of sweet spot for the time that you think it would be nice, or do you like the longer ones?
I think like that. I like that 45 minutes to an hour. Like you want to think about people's commutes, like when you think about when you listen to podcasts, because that's probably a good time when, I always say if you have an idea, there's probably been 100 people that have had that idea at least, right? Yeah. So if you think of like when you listen to podcasts, like when I take the dog to the dog park, when I'm walking, when I'm driving, those are all typical times that I listen to podcasts, and then how long am I typically doing those things?
Right.
In the car, if it's anything less than an hour, it's not even worth getting my audiobook out or my podcast, right?
Right.
I need at least an hour. So that's like my drives. If it's just going to the dog park, it still is like, it floats around that hour. I think like 50 minutes would be perfect.
Okay.
To me.
That seems like something to shoot for, at least. Let's see how it goes.
I mean, because that still gives us wiggle room of like, 5 to 10 minutes either way, and it would still be an acceptable, like what I would call an episode.
Yeah.
Like even as low as 40 or as high as an hour, it would still be an episode. Like, I think if we do a special edition show, like if we're going to do a show that just like talks about like our Mel Brooks show, that should be like, that's going to be a special episode that's going to get like, it should be as long as it needs to be.
Oh yeah.
So if something like that, but I think like a normal episode, what I would consider a season, the bulk of a season, I think those should, I like the idea of like being around 50 minutes. That's good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the one thing I wouldn't want to do, I think, is I do listen to certain shows that are. Well, I listened to that one that Mark Borchardt is on that is a radio show that ultimately I listen to as a podcast.
Yeah.
And they always set out with a topic, and they talk sort of circles, and they oftentimes barely ever talk about the topic because they're like, oh, we're out of time, and that's it. I'm just like, oh my God. Which I don't mind, because really all I care about is listening. I mean, I like the topics, but I like to hear the people talk. So yeah, I think cutting them off sooner will help. I mean, shooting for those things, but not being like, okay, clock's ticking. Let's not talk about this anymore or something.
No, I think it has any kind of diligence like that, it just starts being work and stops being fun, right? I get that kind of like diligence and meticulousness in my job.
Right.
This is for me to like have a good time and like catch up with a buddy,
right?
And talk about and like with the general idea that our like major theme is movies, just because that's always been our major theme in our friendship.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would ever say, all right, well, that's our time. Right. Good story, Dave. We're out. Like.
But wait, I'm too young. I want to play the violin.
Yeah. No, so I totally would say, I totally agree. Like, I mean, and we're definitely more organic people than we are, I think, structured people like that. So,
yeah, as you say, we have the structure comes in other areas of our lives. It's nice to have the freedom to do whatever, but it's nice to have a plan, because then you can always deviate, but you have something to return to, a map, as it were.
Yeah.
Do you have a map for today, or were we?
No. I tried to think about it. So I was writing in those resumes and cover letters, which I'm still actually working on, and I think I just could not hit my groove on that kind of stuff. I'm the kind of person I can shit out a 10-page paper in 2.5 hours, like I can just sit down and I can hammer it out, and it's just like good. Right.
Yeah.
And
that's amazing. I cannot.
Well, and I mean, you just need to know how to bullshit, and because professors aren't going to really read every 10-page paper. If they assign a 10-page paper as your final, and they have like 3 days to get their grades in, or a week to get their grades in, and they got 40 kids, they're not going to read 400 pages and give analytical critiques in like 10 days. That's not going to happen. I'm a teacher. I'm telling you, they're not going to do it. Like,
that's right.
They know what grade they're going to give you probably going into that final before they even crack that paper open. Right. So, yeah. So, I mean, you have that going for you too. But, I have no idea where I was going with
You were talking about these resumes and stuff. I did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I just couldn't find my groove on that stuff. But I think I finally cracked the cover letters. So I'm hoping to get those. Get the other one tweaked, which I'm just going to take the one I have done that I really like, and then just like change a few things in that if like apply to the other job, and then it'll be the same resume that they'll both get. So
nice. I don't. That was kind of news to me. Had you told me that you were thinking of making a change, or is that something that's relatively new?
I have known for about 2 years now.
Oh wow! Maybe I mentioned this.
That I wanted to get out of education. So like the game plan is I'm going to go back and get another degree. So I mean, it's like they're Pokemon cards or something. Like they're, it's just like you got to collect all of them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back for software engineering. That's what I want to do.
Oh, wow.
And get that degree and just make the jump from education. So I think in the meantime, I am looking to make the jump from education a little sooner before I've even started that program. And just give something else a try. I think it's time. It feels like it's a good time. I put a good amount of into my teaching. I'm ready to take those skills and into somewhere else. So
that's exciting.
We'll see. Hopefully it happens before. I mean, my work's never going to listen to this podcast, but they're the kind of place that if they find out you were looking, they would just say, "All right, you have a best of luck to you."
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Well, if we do get these things in order first, we can always leave this section out.
Yeah.
Because there would be several others to roll out beforehand. Thinking about those other ones, I mean, how do you feel about the length of them and stuff? Would you want to create? I mean, we could hop on, and be like, oh, put a pin on it or whatever, like we could do voiceovers after the fact to organize them.
Well, I think it comes back to like the bigger question is, what do we ultimately see these being? Do we see there being more of a structure? And I mean, and we have conversations about bits and sections that we want to do. And I see those are developing exactly at the pace that I think that they should. Like, like the last one we talked about having a Stephen King segment because he's like a shared passion between both of us. And, man, is that lightning that's going on out there?
Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been like this for hours. It's
that's outrageous. It's like it lights up the whole screen.
And that's one window behind me. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 others, and it's like all around. It's crazy.
That's outrageous. If it gets too hairy in there, just say the word and we can like.
No, it's
we'll
fine.
Call it a day.
It's not really scary or anything. It's just hot because I think if I open the windows, it would be pretty loud. Yeah. Are you saying that like Pedro? That's what I was thinking.
It's so hot.
I haven't been able to run to like have someone else get that reference for a while. I don't even know if she knows, but when the bride will tell me about someone that I've not met, whatever, I mean, whether it's a doctor or a student or a teacher or a colleague, I'm always just like, man or woman, I'm like, is he hot? And then she'll have to tell me. But I took to doing that.
Oh, that's awesome.
I would do that around like other people. She's like, you gotta stop doing that. You can only ask me if so-and-so is hot. So I can't be counted on to behave.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Head, I had to shave up my hair because my head got too hot. I love that movie.
Oh man.
Well, I think the agenda is a great place to start, and because I will say, like the podcast that I enjoy most, as I say it, a lot of it has to do with just the interaction, and the other stuff is really just kind of an excuse to get people talking. For me, anyway. And
and I totally see that. And, we might get to the point where we realize that is our format. Like, we've been doing this format the whole time. If we do see us, I mean, because I feel like that's why I said these were like the planning days, right? Because these obviously, if we're building towards a structure that we're going to start using, these aren't following that structure. There's probably there's a good chance that they're not, unless this ends up being our structure.
Meaning no structure.
So like these would do, meaning no structure. So that would mean these are going to be different than those. So I could see maybe we record all of these and then we start that structure, and we release that first, and then these episodes come out after the fact.
Oh wow!
As like bonus, like these are the behind the scenes.
Oh, interesting.
Like the special features or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's like one way that I saw it. So I guess we would really need to see how long this stage lasts. Whoa,
that was a big one.
Jesus. That was a really big one.
It's still going.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's impressive.
I know. Yeah. Peed a little.
And the thunder rolls. Yeah. And the lightning strikes.
I don't think it's supposed to let up anytime soon either. That's
crazy.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I always tend to. I think that's a good way to think about it. I tend to just think everything counts, and so in podcasting at least. So which I think we can end up there too. But I like the idea of being in a place where if we talk about something that is somewhat timely. That's a nice thing about the podcasting medium, I guess, too, is that you can be timely because it doesn't, like if you make a movie, it takes a while to craft that and edit it before it'll, be released. Whereas when you talk, you could, in theory, throw it up immediately. So it'd be nice to strike a balance.
And that's like the ultimate goal of a podcast, right? Is like, how can we get this art up there? How can we get it created and shared as quickly as possible, right?
Yeah, without
the
restriction.
highest quality. Yeah, the highest quality, no restrictions, no regulations, and get it out there as quickly as possible. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I like the 3-hour long episodes.
I do too.
But, I love them. They're amazing. But then you got to think of, I say we just roll with it and just keep it going like organic the way that we're doing.
Yeah,
because
I think it'll change and evolve, probably get more tight as we try certain things out that are effective in terms of just beginning.
And I see and I see stuff like snowballing. Like I love that sound bit of Stephen King, like for the Stephen King section that we talked about. Like,
absolutely,
this machine just called me an asshole.
Yeah,
like I think that. So like we say that, and then like all of a sudden the next episode, like that's happening. Like that.
Right.
As soon as we start talking about Stephen King, that just like cuts in, and I think that's brilliant. I love those little inside jokes and the stuff that we can carry and like, so like I'm going to end this episode with nickel for a knob. Like
that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's one way to think about it. That's one way to think about it too, is if we do get to a big circular thing that has a nice payoff, that could be where you decide to stop the episode, even if we've all. I think in that case, that's more like a minimum. Like, have we been at least talking for 45 minutes?
Right.
Then okay,
right.
that wrap or like that full circle could be an episode, and then it's like, okay, well, I'm up for another one, and then we start again. But we have that natural, or we have a place that it feels like an appropriate ending. The last one was a bit like Lord of the Rings, where it's like there's 1,000 different endings.
There was 1,000 endings. That's so true.
But I still liked it. And right when I thought it was like, I don't know, and then it sort of redeemed itself. So that, I figure I like your idea of holding back a certain number, and it'd be nice to, it'll take some discussion about where does this go and some logistics about that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
And that kind of stuff. And maybe 8's a magic number or 10 or something, but if you think about it in those terms, then it is pretty far from, we're about to have an election in a couple of months and stuff. And so if our first episode or second episode comes out and you're talking about stuff from August of, it's not that that's terrible. No. It just loses a little timeliness. I don't know. We have to think too about it in terms of just how we enjoy podcast and how we listen to podcasts. And then if we start to get any feedback too, we could adjust, because I'm sure we're not going to have a great many listeners. So if we have any, we might as well try to cater to them in as much as it's
and that is the one factor, I guess, that I had not even considered is our potential listeners. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
I think that's probably for the best.
Or in what ways that's good or bad, because it's like, oh man, like nobody would want to listen to this but us.
Yeah.
Or does that mean like
I'll listen and re-listen, so I'll for now I will be the ideal listener. Well, and you. I think as long as you can save your place where you're at, then it's then I don't mind the length. Because
that's a big one. You're right.
Yeah. Well, like with SoundCloud, which is one of the distribution platforms that's easy to get onto, unless I'm missing something, you can't really save your place indefinitely. And that is frustrating.
Yeah.
iTunes you can. I'm pretty sure. And like Stitcher, though I don't think you can just get on Stitcher easily. I think YouTube you kind of can, even though that's not entirely
yeah. Do you know if SoundCloud, like, are you able to, will SoundCloud distribute so that if you do submit your stuff to iTunes, it'll download from SoundCloud?
That isn't, I don't know, but that seems like a possibility, because SoundCloud's one where you do have to pay for the hosting.
Okay.
Which,
if you pay, then I'm pretty sure that you can do that. Like,
okay.
Because you, like, when I had my podcast, the WPLMR podcast, I used Libsyn was the hosting service that and that was basically like a blog space.
Okay.
And so I liked Libsyn a lot though, because I had these like delusions of grandeur that like, what if I blew up overnight and I went from like, 10 monthly downloads to like 1 million monthly downloads. There were a lot of people at that point in time who were blowing up overnight.
Oh,
and they were getting hit with these huge bills because their normal hosting services were set for their traffic to be 10 downloads a month, and then all of a sudden they get 1 million downloads.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Overnight, and then they have these like $35,000 bills.
Whoa.
And so, yeah, like these big, huge bills. And so Libsyn was great because it was, there was no overage charges. You had unlimited uploads and downloads. But the problem, or the way they got around it, was they would archive your posts after 30 days onto their slower server. So it would take longer for it to download. And so your newer posts all got priority download.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all done on Libsyn's site. All you do to get on iTunes is you just submit the URL to your host, which was Libsyn in that case. And then once iTunes, like, they send you a letter or like an email that says, all right, you've been approved and you're now listed in there, give it like this amount of time for it to show up.
Mm-hmm.
When you click download on iTunes, it's actually downloading from the service that person pays for. It's not hosted on any like Apple servers or anything like that. So if SoundCloud is a paid service, I'm sure it has the ability to host to iTunes.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I know the Smodcast Network hosts there, and that's where it all pulls from now. It's not like, it can be a free service up to a certain amount of hours, and that's why, especially with podcasts, it's like you reach that. If you're putting up 4-minute songs, that's one thing.
Right.
And I did the pay service once. It's not too much. I mean, it might be like $10 a month or something, but I don't think that there's then a limit to that.
Right.
Do you like the idea of us having a SoundCloud channel for Long Walk Short Drink? Or like I have one for Dreaming Out Loud Records. There's a Star Wars podcast on there when we did a commentary. That's the only one there. But in theory, there could be other ones, other podcasts.
I don't really care.
Like a record
there
label.
does not need to. Yeah, there does not need to be a Long Walk Short Drink. If you want to just drop those in a folder on the Dreaming Out Loud Records, like that's fine. Is that what you said? Dreaming Out Loud Records?
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's Dreaming Out Loud something. And I have that same thing for Vimeo and the Bandcamp. And really, it's just part of this kind of longer form archive thing that I've been doing. I love the Bandcamp site, but there are track limits there. That's why I started the SoundCloud page, because the Krams and his wife and myself and the bride did a commentary for Star Wars. Did we talk about this?
Yeah.
So it was well, just in case somebody's I don't know, this seems like the kind of thing we could potentially cut out, but if we don't and someone is listening and doesn't want to be like, what are you guys talking about? Krams' wife had never seen the actual early Star Wars movies, and so didn't quite know what happened and wanted to see them before the Force Awakens came out. So we sat down with microphones and watched the original versions with her and kind of commentated along the way, and we put it up online. It's kind of fun. We only really did the first one.
That's awesome.
We were going to do all three.
No, it's so awesome.
And then what happened? Then it took so long to set everything up. And there were technical problems. And then by like midway through Empire, the girls were trying to go to bed. I think the bride did go to bed, and we were trying to force Krams' wife to stay up because like, this is gonna be amazing. Like this is an amazing climax. And she's just like, "Hey, just tell me what happens tomorrow." We're like, "No." So we never. We did record that one, but I feel like it would not be very fun to listen to because it just sort of goes downhill. And then we didn't get to Jedi. I made artwork for all three of them though, and now she's seen them, so it doesn't matter. I had a lot of fun with that because I mirrored the artwork of the soundtrack albums. And so Star Wars is the yellow, and then Empire is blue, and Jedi is red. And then I put kind of this silhouetted picture of the four of us down below, and I called it the couples commentary no one asked for. But anyway, so I started a page, and maybe that'll be an easy thing to start from. And I have motivation to kind of maintain those kind of fees, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, as long as
that's awesome.
Maybe a little more shop type talk, and then we could switch to something that would be
like that theme song. We should talk about that theme song.
Sure. Yeah. Let's talk about that. What I had in mind. We're at
roughly like 52 minutes right now already, if you count what we recorded before.
Yeah.
Well, I guess some of that was dead air.
Right.
So probably like in the like 45-minute range already.
I feel bad about some of it. That was kind of boring maybe, but
no, I mean, but that's what these episodes really are for. Is
sure, yeah.
They've all kind of like hovered around this like, let's figure this out conversation. You know?
Now we're getting into the nitty gritty. That's another. Who are those guys that made Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre? I can't think of their names, but I fucking love them because I like those movies a lot. Even Nacho, I actually really like Nacho, even though it's
Nacho.
Yeah, I mean it's so ridiculous, everything about that movie, but I love it. I mean, that's something he says, like, "Let's get down to the nitty gritty." He talks like that, and he's got that pencil thin mustache and the perm, and just makes his big
and
faces.
Antonio Banderas, that's who talks like
right,
that.
Yes.
That's Jack Black doing Antonio Banderas, like the whole movie.
God, I would love to see that. I would love to see him imitate Antonio Banderas. So what I was thinking with sorry, go ahead.
No, that's hilarious. Did I tell you the Luchador story from our wedding?
Oh, yes, but I don't remember it enough, and that seems like the kind of thing that we should share with whoever happens upon this.
So, in the love of like Nacho Libre and that kind of thing, and I love that like Luchador. It's just one of those like inside jokes. I feel like it's like Hello Kitty or whatever. Or, what was that? Do you remember? Do you remember like Stretch from The Grant? He watched that like Strong Bad cartoon. Did you ever watch that with him and Ro?
I don't think so.
It was like there was this guy Strong Bad and he was a luchador, and like I just love like how it's just this like I feel like it's an inside joke, you know, but it's a huge culture.
Oh yeah,
like cultural thing. It's like so awesome. So when we registered for our wedding, I registered for a luchador mask, and I got it, and and I got it early, and so my Ash thought it was just something funny that I put on the register, but it ended up coming. And I actually got it for a reason, because Western Pennsylvania, it's a very common thing that happens at a wedding is called the bridal dance. We do the dollar dance, where the bride and the groom are out on the dance floor, and everybody lines up to dance with them, and they pay $1 to dance with the bride and the groom, right?
Oh, okay.
And like sometimes you do a shot after you're done dancing with them. Like there's people like standing there with the shot, but you pay $1 to dance with the bride or the groom. In Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania, the tradition is that it's only the bride out there, and people pay $1 to go dance with her, and the dollars are supposed to be in knots, because they're supposed to spend their wedding night unfolding the knots out of the dollar bills instead of consummating the marriage. Right?
Whose idea is this?
Like, yeah, like isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? And so, because you're like taking the bride from her family, and so they pay the $1, the knotted dollars in the bag, and so they go up and dance with her, and then when they're done, they do a shot. And the whole time, this like crazy polka is playing, right?
This sounds like Dwight Schrute tradition. I know you didn't get to the office,
I
but
know.
anyone
Like
who does.
No, this is outrageous. You're exactly right. And so they stay up there though. They don't go sit down. Like in a normal Ohio dollar dance, once you're done dancing, if you do your shot, you do your shot, and then you go sit down because the next people are going to have to be done dancing with them. Well, not with these Pennsylvanian people. You stay up there and you dance around in a circle around the bride, and then once every person in the wedding party or in the wedding has danced with the bride, there's this giant congregation of people dancing around her in a circle. And then the DJ says, "All right, now it's time for the groom," and he has to fight his way like the rings of hell. Has to fight his way through all these people and steal the bride and take her away from the as my beautiful bride described it. And then you get in your car and drive away, and then your family and friends clean up the mess from the wedding after you. They finish partying while you go off and go consummate the marriage, and then they clean up the mess and take care of everything. And I'm like, okay, now she has 4 brothers. All of them are taller than 6 feet.
Whoa.
2 of them are Marines, and one of them is a blacksmith.
That's interesting.
So he's got like
how am I somehow more impressed with the blacksmith than the Marines?
He's got like Popeye arms, like he's got giant Popeye arms, right?
No.
And then her dad is also taller than 6 feet tall. Her brother-in-law is an officer in Pittsburgh, like a sheriff's deputy.
Whoa. You got your hands
and I gotta
full.
fight I gotta fight. That's just her immediate family. Then that's not the aunts, the uncles, like. So I knew this was gonna be like, I am not a fighter. I'm not gonna stand up to these people. And her, excuse me, I love my in-laws, so I don't want anything to be taken out of that context, that I do love my in-laws. But her entire family, immediate family, they are very competitive and very so I could see this, me fighting through to get to Ash, going very bad, right? Very quickly, and I didn't want that to happen. So there's no way I'm gonna win a fight against her truck driving father, two Marine brothers, blacksmith brother, giant hippie brother. I'm not gonna win that fight. There's just no way I'm gonna win that fight. So if I can't do it physically, which I'm a big guy, so it takes a lot to intimidate me. Let's just be straight. I'm not like a wuss. That's it does take a decent amount to intimidate me.
I remember this time at the cabin where Bauman jumped off that sort of deck of the cabin to attack you, and you grabbed him in midair and just sort of stopped him. And Bauman's not a little guy either. So anyway, just to give any listeners some perspective.
So I'm not a little guy, but I wasn't physical stuff isn't going to work. So I have to go with humor. That's the only way that I'm going to win this, right? And so I get the luchador mask. I get a cape. I get athletic tape. And so while they're doing the dollar dance, I strip down. I'm in my strap shirt.
Strap shirts.
I'm in I'm in my athletic shorts. I have my cape on, and I put that luchador mask on. And I have to tell you, when that luchador mask goes on, it's empowering.
Oh yeah.
I had a wrestling belt, a championship belt that I wore over my shoulder. And I had her, our friend, he announced a wrestling announcer, and my brother was my manager. He was massaging me and took my belt and held it up. He held it up for everybody to see, and and I got up there, and her four brothers they stopped me, and then they were all right, let him by. And that was the oldest brother. They let me by, and so I got by them, and I got in. I got Ash. It was all great, but man, was it terrifying! It was I went to my father-in-law and I was like, "Listen, you have to have a talk with your sons because I don't want
right?
Yeah, I don't want there to be a fight at my wedding. That would be really great."
So they just sort of kind of gave you the stink eye, and then we're like, "All right," and stepped aside.
All right, yeah, they just did their to be funny.
Yeah.
So
that's excellent.
It worked out.
I remember you telling me that now, but I like picturing that quite a bit. Did you have music that you came out to, your wrestling music, or there was already music?
Yeah, it was that polka.
That's even better.
I don't think I did it an actual music, but it was. But Darren definitely, he was and in this quarter, weighing in at and all that stuff, doing the wedding announcer. It was pretty great.
That is awesome. Well, we were mentioning the theme music for the show too. So now you'll have a kind of custom walkout music, some jams to strut out to the next time you need to don that
I tell you what,
mask.
When I got that email and I listened to that, I was like, how fun is Dave's commutes to work? He just sits there and he's thinking of theme music for a podcast that only we know about.
I wrote half the last album, I think, on the commute, but I hadn't written any music. I dreamt one song over the summer, or the chorus of a song that didn't sound like it something I could do, and that's as close as I've come. I've just been out of that headspace.
Yeah.
And I hadn't thought that I would be the one to initiate this. I'd been listening to Night Shift, the Stephen King short story collection. I don't know what it was. I think it just occurred to me that I should start to think about this. And my whole idea of what would be fun based on what we were talking about in the early episodes was like the song at the beginning of Turbo Kid. So like that is a song sung by a guy called Stan Bush, who sang every awesome song like that in the 80s. I brought up Stan Bush's page on Wikipedia. I haven't read this quite yet, but like some of these songs are like The Touch. So it's like, you got the touch. You got the power. They're all like that. I mean, I could go through and sing, and a lot of them are from Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. So
I bet they
that's
are.
even better. Like there's this one, Streets of Siam from Kickboxer, and one of the lyrics, I swear, is like, so the chorus, I'm just going to sing like 20 Stan Bush songs, but I will give you a taste so you have some idea of where this comes from. So Streets of Siam, I mean, we could play the actual songs, but I'd rather sing them. so Streets of Siam is like the main chorus of that one is like, everybody loves a winner, everyone can see that I am, everybody follows the leader, baby, cruising down the streets of Siam. And because they're in Thailand, so it's like it's custom written. It's this stuff like kind of puffing your chest out. There's a line in that song in the verses where he's like, I don't care what you think, I could kill you if you blink. No pretenders left when I'm done.
Oh my god!
Oh, it's magic. And so the next time you see Turbo Kid too, like listen, it's like it's one of those type of songs. There's a bunch more, and they're all fucking awesome. Some of them are power ballads. But that voice that I'm doing is kind of a fake thing. Like he's singing full voice, just like hair metal, kind of just a ballsy dude singer from the 80s. But like he's the ballsy dude singer from the 80s for movies. So that's what I was wanting, one of those kind of songs, particularly because I think I need to double check, but I think he also did a song in Kung Fury. So it's like, this guy's back. Stan Bush is back.
Stan Bush,
which is the greatest name for a singer of this kind.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this guy. So I'm like, we need ourselves like a ridiculous Stan Bush like theme song that sort of spells things out, but it's all about just that kind of 80s machismo, just nonsense. And that's where, so I sent Palmer this thing. So I started to sing in my iPhone, just singing the first words that came to mind, but within like 20 minutes and I guess a 5-minute file, I started to hit upon what felt like I hit upon a chorus that has been stuck in my head for a week and a half. I can't stop singing this thing in my head. And I'll sing it here so that it's part of this record, I guess, but I don't remember all the words because mostly I just kept singing the title over and over again. So it's like, it's a long walk for a short drink. Long walk, short drink. Anyway, it goes on and on. Since I first came up with it, I keep inserting a bunch of like fucks in between. So I swear I'm walking around like my building, getting into the elevator stuff, and someone's gonna catch me, and because I'm just singing under my breath. I'm like, it's a fucking long walk. And then like the end of it is like, we'll get there eventually.
It's so much better to see you doing it.
Oh, you gotta clench your fist and raise it and kind of shake your head.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find the word. And yeah, so I'm excited. And I can. Oh, I know I can do this. I think I was born to do this.
That's so awesome.
Oh man. Wait.
It's so much better than what the stuff that I had sent you. Like it's so much better.
No, that's different. I hope we can find a way. And then I also started to think about if we did do something that's season oriented. Oh, so I should back up a little bit. Well, you tell them about like how you heard or how you kind of heard what I sent you, Because I don't think you knew the whole Stan Bush backstory and then where that went for
No,
you.
like, and like having all of that, like, and I know exactly what you're talking about. I have heard those songs. Like, I know. I mean, it's like Now You're a Man from Orgasmo or whatever.
Oh my God.
Now you're a man. A man. Like, have you heard that song?
No, but
like,
I can't wait to hear it. Because even if it's not him, it's going to be awesome like that.
He didn't know. He didn't write it. It's like Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Like it's him doing the song. But man, it's that style of song, and it's fantastic. So
before we get off Stan Bush, because I do want to hear from your side, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. I didn't know it at the time when I first saw the movie, but that first song that I sang, the first one that comes up on Wikipedia, The Touch, You Got the Touch, is the theme song for Transformers, the cartoon.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's like, after all is said and done, you never walk, you always run, you're a winner. And but the first time I heard that was not in the 80s, the Transformer. It's in Boogie Nights when Dirk Diggler is trying to have a recording career. And he's singing that song, not much differently, actually, than I am, with the kind of fake singing.
Yeah.
Which one of my favorite things
ironic
ever.
Singing, right?
But I mean, he's dead serious, of course. But yeah.
Right. And
I love it. He's like, you only hear him, not the music. And you hear him go, you got the touch, you got the power. Yeah. And then they cut in, you see like John C. Reilly dancing in a headband and 80s sweats. So that's where I'm coming from, the Stan Bush. But then, so you heard it, and you brought up this great song by Huey Lewis, another equally awesome dude from the 80s.
Yeah, like, well, and you know, I had heard 80s movies described as their theme song works the title, no matter how obtuse the title is, into the theme song. That's right. And so it's like, and that's like, you need that to happen. And so, Huey Lewis does the Back to the Future theme, right? Like the Power of Love. Yeah. Right? Like,
but there's also a song in that movie where it's like, gotta go back in time.
Yeah.
Very literal.
Yeah, it's very, very close to the, like, it's just you just have to work the obtuse title into some kind of song, and it's all upbeat. And so I didn't have this in the text message. Well, so the text message I sent was, when I think of an 80s, because you mentioned 80s theme, and I could hear close to what, and nowhere near the energy though that we had in this chat. But like, I was like, and that got me thinking about it. And so I sent you the Huey Lewis, when they made Pineapple Express, because they said that was their 80s action movie.
Yeah, but with two stoners that couldn't quite have the stamina.
Yeah, and so so they asked Huey Lewis to come and write an 80s style theme song for Pineapple Express. And he worked Pineapple Express. I mean, that's like, talk about obtuse titles, right? He worked that into a theme song, and it's amazing.
It is.
And so that's what I heard. Another one, but I also hear it at like the beat of the theme to Saved by the Bell.
Oh, like, yeah, I could hear that, especially that. Yes.
Like at that beat, like, but you can hear
and that too, they say it's like, it's all right because I'm saved by the bell.
Yeah,
of course
exactly.
That's in there.
Because of course it's in there. It's like,
now.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, no, not at all.
You sing it to the, whatever for The Walking Dead. It's like, it's like, you can't, or Lost. It's like,
I guess like my layman's way of like of giving that a term or a phrase is like, the title is the punchline of the chorus or of the chorus. And so that's how you know you have a true like 80s style theme song, is if like that the title of your actual movie or show is the punchline of your chorus.
Yeah. So, and they tell the story of the movie like in the song.
Yeah. That happens too. But usually I think it's more like it's like rough ideas from the movie. It's not like any direct,
Yeah, it depends. I mean,
like,
it's really awesome when they do try to tell the story, because that's always like super cheesy.
awkward, yeah.
Well, like that one
cheesy.
I was singing from Kickboxer. I mean, Streets of Siam, and there's no reason to sing about the Streets of Siam other than in that movie at that moment they're going to Thailand to Siam to fight. And and those two, like, he's got the power ballads. Oh, so this is kind of what I was moving towards, with your sort of Huey Lewis vibe and then my Stan Bush vibe, is that if we could come up with a song. Did you watch The Wire? Have you seen The Wire?
I have not seen The
show.
Wire.
So it has the same theme song, but performed, and this is a little like this in Weeds too. Have you seen Weeds, the TV show?
Yeah,
you know how they have the Little Boxes song at the beginning, but it's
right.
different each season. That one might be different each show for a while, but that might be a fun thing to do. Is like have the song, but then treat it differently. Maybe performed by different people, or at least in a different style every once in a while.
Well, and that makes total sense too, because I like, one could say that we're in a pretty big because we've talked about Stranger Things a couple times and our love for 80s stuff, and so that's like the flavor. I mean, to not sound like too harsh about it, but that's like the flavor of the month right now. Like,
yeah,
if this goes long enough, like we could be like, oh man, like I'm picturing like the soundtrack, like it's a sci-fi trailer from the 2000s, so it's gonna have that like boom sound,
yeah, right.
Like, stuff
absolutely.
like that. So
that sounds really fun.
We wouldn't only stick to just 80s, so
yeah.
But yeah, I like
it'd be cool.
I like both of those. Like both of those like spins on it are really great.
Yeah, I'm excited. I did send it to my brother, who would be the producer of such things, but he's been tied up in some other stuff, so he and I haven't actually talked about it yet. But I mean, we're talking about a guy who a few months ago sent me a text message that said, "Just thought you could use some Stan Bush in your weekend," and it's like it's him pointing his iPhone at the TV as that song from Kickboxer plays that I sang before for just like 30 seconds. So
that's so awesome.
Something tells me he's gonna be into it. But,
that's awesome.
I found the words that I wrote down. I want to see if maybe some of them are worth singing. And I did actually, like, at a certain point I started to sing kind of in that throaty kind of gruff thing in the car. Oh, and it was fun.
Yeah.
Like, I'm excited to I'm not well, like I said, I think it'd be fun to ultimately have these different versions where maybe there are different singers. I mentioned The Wire because The Wire does that same thing, and they change it every season. It was like a different person singing the same song.
Gotcha.
Take the long song when you get there. I don't know. It's kind of some of this. I mean, it's all stupid, but I guess that's the idea. There's another part of the song. Yeah, okay, so this would be maybe like a bridge or something. So it would change keys slightly and be like, when we get where we're going, you'll find it is worth the wait, 'cause we'll make it on our own, at our own pace. And take that long walk for a short drink. Take that long walk. Sure drink. Take that fucking long walk for a short drink, and we'll get there eventually. Anyway, this is gonna happen, even if it's just like a single on my own music page.
That's outrageous, man.
Anyway, so hopefully that'll start to I don't know if that's the kind of thing. It seems like the kind of thing we should let evolve and be discussed in this way before we start featuring it at the beginning. But
yeah,
And I like the idea too. I mean, we'll have complete control over the tracks and stuff, so we could create different versions where one of my favorite podcasts, Tell 'em Steve Dave, they'll have little teasers of moments that are forthcoming in the episode. And like these little quotes taken out of context. So there's like, what now? Who said what? Like, I can't wait to hear how that comes to be.
Yeah.
So I thought about certain things like that, and or two, like playing the whole song at the end, like at the credits in a movie, where
so
people can just tune out if they want, but it's always there. I don't know. Or having different versions, like a long version that has lyrics and verses, and just a short kind of opening 30-second version and stuff like that.
Oh,
Worth having a podcast just to make the song happen.
I'm gonna go see if I can wake my wife up. I found a nickel in my pocket. Maybe I can get a nickel for a knob.
Oh, hut.
Hut.
I like it.
Yeah. I said I was gonna come back to it, and I did it.
That's well done.
Oh man,
very impressive. I'm very aroused.
Oh, yeah. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for listening, and next time we'll talk about movies.
We should talk about Turbo Kid. Oh, you should. Oh, okay.
I saw a great movie. We'll talk about that in the theater. We got to go to the theater, which was great. We'll talk about Turbo Kid, so I'll try to watch that again, so it's like fresher in my head.
Oh, okay.
All right. We'll talk to everybody later. You have a great one.
Long walk, short drink. Peace out.
And now you're finishing the ending credits. Now I'm visioning these playing over credits on a podcast.
Yeah, it's like synth music. Sometimes you gotta take the long way home.